Hey everybody, hope all is well. Today we're going to start our first distance learning math lesson, and we're going to start off with a very important but basic topic of using positive and negative numbers. And from now on in this chapter, they're going to call them integers, which is basically a fancy math word for whole numbers. So by the end of today, you should be able to work with positive and negative numbers pretty easily. We're going to start in our book in lesson 3.1, and the topic is called Understanding Integers, and it's going to be on pages 143 to 147. We'll do some of it together. I'll teach through it, and we'll go step by step, and it'll be great. So if you do not have a book or pencil right now, please hit pause on the video, and then go get your textbook, please. Okay, so you're back. Let's look at page 143, please. So on here, it says make a blue mark on the thermometer at 10 degrees Celsius and 4 degrees Celsius. Make a blue mark at 0. And then also make a red mark at -4 and -10 degrees Celsius. Tell how you decided where to place each mark. So you don't worry about the colors. You can follow along with mine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with black at 0, because 0, it makes sense to me. I know where it is. It's right in the middle. It looks like a vertical number line, and I see 0. So I'm making a black spot there. Now, if I look at the numbers, I see that I have a 20, a 10, and a -20 and a -10. So as I go up this thermometer, it's going to get bigger. As I go down, it's going to get a bigger number, but smaller amount. It's a little backwards because it's negative, but just know it's going to get smaller in size, but not in number. So what I'm going to do first, let's go do our blue marks at 10 and 4. So let me see. I got 10 right here. So 0 and 10 are marked. I made my blue mark at 10, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4 spots between 0 and 10. I bet we're going up by 2 is not 1. So that means at the second dash, it's going to be equal to 4, because I'm going to go up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Perfect. So the second dash, I put a blue for 4, and the fifth dash, I put a blue for the 10. Now I'm going to make a red mark as we go negatives. So let's go count by 2s again, because if it's to scale, it's always going to be by 2. So I'm going to go -2, -4, -6, -8, -10, -12, -14, -16, -18, -20. So let's go mark our spots. We're going below 0, 2 spots, which means -4, and I'm going down 2, 4, 6, 8. Here is -10, and there's actually a number there, so we know where we got it there. So looking like it, a thermometer is just like a number line. Turn the page, please. Here we have our next 2 vocab words. We have integers and opposites. It says the counting numbers, their opposites, and 0 are integers. So as we talk about integers today, please remember that integers are counting numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Their opposites, which would be on the other side of the 0. So if I have 1, my opposite would be -1. They are the same distance from 0. If I have 5, my opposite would be 5 away on the other side of 0, -5. So those are opposites. So opposites are numbers that are located on the opposite side and same distance from 0. Those are what opposites are. So basically, integers are whole numbers, opposites, and 0. So as I see right here in our book, it says if I see a minus sign in 6, I wouldn't say -6, I would say -6. If at any time you want to hit pause, go back, rewatch this video, please feel free. But we're going to turn to the next page now. So now on page 145, starting with a do you understand? It says, what do you know about 2 different integers that are opposites? Well, I know that they're on opposite sides of 0 and they are the same distance to 0. So the same amount of spaces to 0. Number 2, how do you read minus 17? Well, I would read that as negative 17. Number 3, which integers are not used for counting? Well, I would not use 0, because if I'm counting a total amount, I wouldn't say 0 and 0 and 0. That doesn't make sense. And I also wouldn't use negative numbers to count. So the integers that we would not use for counting would be negatives and 0. So in 4 through 9, we just basically need to write the opposite of each number. So if I have number 1, the opposite, which means on the other side of 0, 1 away, would be negative 1. In 4, if my number is negative 1, my opposite would be positive 1. In 6, if I'm at negative 11, I need to know the number 11 away from 0 on the other opposite side of negative 11. So that would be positive 11. Basically, we're switching the negative sign to a positive. Why don't you hit pause right now and please go ahead and do 7, 8, and 9. Once you're done, please unpause and we'll work on it together. Okay, number 7, I see a 30. So what is on the other side of 0 from 30? The exact same distance, which would be 30 spots away. That would be negative 30. Opposite of 0 is 0. That's just one of those things you need to know. There's no negative 0. And the opposite of negative 16. Hey, Billy, what'd you get? 16. Good answer, Billy. Down to number 10. We need to write the integer value that each point represents, then its opposite. So I'm going to go find A. But first, let's look at our number line. I have 0, and then I see a number negative 5, positive 5, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots between it. So I know that each one is worth 1. So A looks like it's on the negative side. So I'm going to start at negative 5, and then I would say negative 6, negative 7. So A is negative 7, and its opposite is then going to be 7. So we need 2 answers for these. First, the integer value. Second, its opposite. 11 looks for B. So I see B is right before the 5. So if it's to the left of the 5, it's smaller than 5, and 1 smaller would make it 4. And then the opposite of 4 would be negative 4. 12 is C, which is 0, and its opposite, 0. D, it's to the left of 0, which means it's going to be negative. So it's going to be negative 1, 2. So negative 2, and negative 2's opposite would be positive 2. Please go ahead and hit pause now and work on 14 and 15 by yourself. Thanks for coming back. I hope you got 14 and 15. 14 says E, which is to the right of 0, so it means it's going to be positive, and it looks like it's 1, 2 spaces to the right, so that's going to be positive 2, and its opposite is going to be negative 2. And then finally we have F, which is right above the negative 5, which means that it's negative 5, and its opposite is going to be 5. Down below in 16 through 21, we're going to plot a point on the number line below. So before we got the letter, we came with numbers. Now we have the numbers, we're going to do the letter. So G is negative 10. So I'm going to find negative 10, which would be to the left of the 0, and it's labeled, so I'm going to label it G. 17 is H at 8. So 8 is between 5 and 10. So I'm going to start at 5, go 5, 6, 7. Here is 8, and that is going to be H. Then I have negative 1 is I. So negative 1 will be 1 to the left of 0. That's going to be I. 19. J is 9. So that is going to be, again, between 5 and 10. And it's going to be 1 more than my 8, 1 less than 10. So I'm going to plot J right there. So please hit pause and you do 20 and 21, please. Welcome back. I hope you see that 20 is at 6, which will be right here, and I'm going to mark it K. And 21 is going to be L is at -3. So to the left of the 0, 1, 2, 3 is going to be my L. Perfect. 22 through 27, we just need to write the opposites. We basically need to switch the sign. So the opposite of 5 is -5. Opposite of -13, 13. Ooh, this one's tricky. So I see 2 negatives in a row. We know that 2 negatives make a positive. So what's the opposite of positive -22? -22 is the opposite. Please hit pause and go ahead and do 25, 26, and 27. Welcome back. Opposite of -31, 31. Opposite of -50, 50. And the opposite of negative again. Oh, 2 negatives make a positive. So that's really 66. So the opposite of 66 would be -66. Like I said before, if you have any questions, please go back, rewatch the video, redo, or contact me later if you're confused with questions for instructor, emails, or come to the 2 o'clock Zoom. Okay, next step, what you're going to do is vocab. So today you're going to add integer to your vocab project. So I pulled up mathisfun.com, and you can also use your definition from the book, but integers are counting numbers, their opposites, and 0. We need 2 to 3 examples. So I got 14, -6, and 0. Notice there's no fractions of the integers. Some characteristics, they could be positive, negative, no fractions, and we want to include 0. My non-examples, 14.8, pi, and 3/0, all non-examples of integers. So this is how I set mine up. Feel free to use it as a model, but go ahead and do your own when we get to that part. All right, so lesson 3.1 is done for today. So what do you do next? Please go to Schoology, reread your update, which you should have read this morning, but if not, reread it right now. And I'll tell you that we're going to go on and finish our vocab, add it to our PowerPoint presentation. Then I'm going to do IXL M2 up to 90%. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to take a screenshot, put it in my assignments, and then I'm going to do my song tally. So please today listen to the song, tally the word that you'll see in the directions, and add it to our class discussion. But like I said, a lot more detail in the Schoology daily update. Great job with your first day of distance learning. Take care and reach out to me if you have any questions, please.